How does it feel to be selected as one of the most influential women in the North Country?
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing?
Yeah, I can think of so many people who I think are so deserving, and I don't mean to sound, to offer you false humility, but I honestly was surprised that you selected me, so I'm very flattered.
You've been with North Country Public Radio for 32 years, is that right?
Since May of 1980.
Okay. When you started in public radio, was it the same beast that it's become today?
No, public radio was a very immature industry when I started in 1980. As the public radio we know today was really born with the passage of the Public Broadcasting Act in the late 60s, and then with the creation of National Public Radio, NPR, in 1971, we entered what I think of as the modern age of public radio. But certainly for the first 10 or 20 years, we were a very immature industry, sort of feeling our way, creating as we went by the seat of our pants. And I would say that in the last 10 or 20 years, we have kind of come into a new maturity and a new position in the American, on the American landscape. Something like 35 million people now tune in to public radio on a regular basis. That's a lot different than 1980.
Let's talk about being a woman in the public radio realm, developing a career as a woman in this industry. How was that for you?
Well, the one thing that works in your favor, or did work in your favor as a woman in public radio when I started, was that men didn't want to work in the industry that much because the pay was so low. I was hired in 1980 as development director, a position I held for a few years before becoming station manager, I believe for about $8,000 a year full-time. Now, granted, 1980 is a long time ago, but it's not that long ago. So I think that historically, public radio, even more than public television, attracted women because it was an opportunity, albeit a poorly paid opportunity. It was an opportunity to do some very interesting work that often men were not interested in doing because the pay was so low. That's changed. I've worked hard to make sure our people are paid a fair wage.
Who would you say has been a role model for you in your career?
Ooh, I wasn't expecting that question. I guess I should have. Well, I would say, and this will sound very corny, I would say my mother, much as she drove me crazy when I was growing up, was a real role model. She was kind of fearless. She took risks. She did things, I think, ahead of her time. She cared about people. She cared about work. She cared about her children, certainly. But she thought a woman could do whatever she wanted to do.
What motivated you to get into public radio?
Well, it's a funny thing. I had started listening to the station, the local station, back when it just served St. Lawrence County, and I loved it. It was different. It had a different feel. I had grown up listening to AM radio, top 40 kind of thing, and some classical radio, and in New York City, WQXR. But there was something so open. The possibilities seemed so open to do so much. And it was really serendipity. Someone working there asked me to apply for the development position because I had some background in fundraising and working with not-for-profits, and I did, and I got the job. And in the beginning, I think it was just fun. It was a great environment to work in. Anything went, you could do anything. It's just a lot of fun. We were all quite young and feeling our way through it. The longer I was there, though, the more important I understood the work was. It became a more serious job. I understood that we could make a real difference in this community, and that fed my motivation through the years, and ultimately was the steam that really drove me, was that we could have an impact, whether it was during the ice storm of '98 that we became a lifeline, whether it was post 9/11 when we became a lifeline. We could be a real force in people's lives, and we could connect them with each other and with the rest of the world. And that's very powerful.
Can you tell us about any obstacles or challenges that you faced in your career and how you sort of overcame them and got where you are today?
I think there are a lot of naysayers who just, you shop an idea to them and they say, no way. There's no way you can do that. And I've heard that many, many times over the course of the last 3 decades. So that kind of sense that people who live in the North Country and work in remote rural areas don't quite have the chops they need to do top-notch work, that's been a struggle, I would say, through 30 years of working and disproving that.
I bet it's been fun to disprove that, though.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we win awards every year, national awards, state awards. We're known across the system, if I can boast a little, for the quality of our news, the quality of our overall approach to public media, and our commitment to not just doing canned material from other places, but really representing this region.